which is the Church of the Holy Sepulcher. Now, I didn't mention before, the Via Dolorosa means the path of the agony of Christ, or the suffering of Christ, also known as the Stations of the Cross. And on Easter Sunday, on Good Friday, all congregations around the world celebrate or mark Good Friday, which is the day that Jesus was crucified. And in Catholic churches, they actually have all of these stations marked on the walls, and they walk around and tell the story and read from the scriptures during that Friday. And of course, Good Friday is right before Easter Sunday. Easter Sunday is the day that he is resurrected, that he comes out of the grave. So take a look at the entrance here. The building you're seeing is mostly Crusader. Okay, these arches and the entrance here. We'll get closer in a moment, but this gray dome here is the entrance stairs leading directly to the Rock of Golgotha, or Calvary in Latin. And Golgotha is Aramaic. It means skull. And that's where Jesus was nailed to the cross, and the cross was erected, and he dies on the cross on the Rock of Golgotha over here under this gray dome. Interesting that the entrance to the church has been, as I said, Crusader. There's all kinds of sketches. This is a sketch from the 1850s, I think, if I'm not mistaken. All kinds of different sketches and ways to see some of the story of the church. The doors are pretty amazing. And in fact, there's a ceremony every day at 4:30 in the morning and at 8:30 at night of opening and closing the doors, and a very cool ceremony to see. Here you can see more of the door, the special lock that we have there. So let's take a look with the video coming in. By the way, there's no high church steeple because in an earthquake in 1850, that church steeple collapsed, never restored. Unfortunately, the church actually looks like this today because they're renovating, but also very empty. There's very few visitors. Here's the stairway leading directly to Golgotha, and coming in to the church itself, we're going to make a right-hand turn and climb up to the Rock of Golgotha. We're going to stop at each of these stations after the video and explain a little bit more about what we're seeing. And now we're up on Calvary, or Golgotha, and what we see here is the Catholic side. Mosaics, that's the binding of Isaac. Interesting connection. Why is this here? Think about that for a moment. Station 11, where Jesus was nailed to the cross. In a moment, we'll move over to the Greek Orthodox side, which is right next to the Catholic side, and that's where the belief in Christianity is that the actual stone, the actual place where the cross was stood. You can see on the sides here some of the actual Rock of Golgotha. Okay, you see here it's covered in plexiglass. That's the actual rock. They cover it up to make sure that nobody takes a souvenir, which used to happen back in the day. And Jesus on the cross, that's exactly where the belief is that the cross was erected and where he dies on the cross. Now, people can kneel underneath the altar, stick their hand into that hole and touch the actual Rock of Golgotha. Doesn't have any specific significance besides the ability to actually feel where the cross was stood before. And this is a Greek Orthodox side. Look at all the ornaments and the candles, different style than the Catholic part, which we saw before. Okay, and from here we'll go downstairs from the Rock of Golgotha, and we'll see the stone of unction, or the stone where but Jesus's body was prepared for the crucifixion. Here we go. I think we're going down slowly but surely. And again, the fact that it's completely empty, this was during COVID when we filmed this. And unfortunately, nowadays, with the war going on, there's very few people. There are some, but not a lot. And we'll talk about this in a moment, the mosaics, and take a look, this piece of rock that is believed to be where the body of Christ was placed when he was prepared for the burial. And from here, we go into the main rotunda, which is where the tomb is. And the tomb used to be a cave, but with the advancement of time and renovations and different versions of the church, they had to actually build an actual structure to hold the cave inside. So you need some imagination, because where this building is that we're looking at now used to be a cave, and this is now holding two small halls where the body of Jesus was placed. All right, let's continue here. We're going to go into the church and go up to the rock of Golgotha, where we can see we were here before. We saw some of these areas. And interestingly enough, there's some beautiful mosaics, as I mentioned before. In the Catholic area over here, there's this mosaic of the binding of Isaac. What does the binding of Isaac have to do with the crucifixion of Jesus? The binding of Isaac is the covenant, the brit, or bris, as you say in North America, between God and his people, Abraham representing the Jewish people. And in a way, Jesus dying on the cross is the new covenant. It's the new covenant between God and his people. And Jesus on the cross is all of these characters here in the binding of Isaac. He's the son, he's the father, and he's also the sacrificial lamb that is eventually sacrificed. So very cool connection that is made over here. Let's go down to the area where we're going to see the stone. This is in better days when a lot of people are in here. And the stone is very interesting. Here's a picture of it, if it opens. Very good. The belief is that the body of Christ was placed here on the stone to be prepared for burial.